Hello, and welcome to another episode of Under a Rock with Brielle and Guerlain. Today we are continuing our discussion of Avatar The Last Airbender. Today we're going to be talking about episodes 13, 14, and 15. As always, Guerlain is the one who is returning to the series with nostalgia. He watched it when he was a kid, and I am brand new to it. So let's get started.
Let's jump into it. For transparency's sake, this is the second take because a minute into recording, I realized that my vocals weren't recording. So I'm just gonna feel a little weird just repeating what we just said.
Yeah.
So just for transparency.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a blooper.
Yeah.
We'll add it to something. We'll make a compilation. We have some bloopers already.
Yes, we do. So what I said earlier was that I just like how Aang took charge of everything, and he told Katara and Saka to sit tight. I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna find something to help you guys. I got this map to this healer in Earth Kingdom, and you guys gonna be all right. And he heads out.
Yeah, I mean it's a microcosm of his job. I mean his job is to help people, and that's what he does, and he's very selfless in his quest to help his friends. I mean, throughout the whole episode, this whole Blue Spirit episode, he is so single-minded. Like, he gets captured and he gets into like a fight and he's like, I gotta help my friends. Like, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
This episode is really interesting because I can see the influences of Robin Hood on it. Like when the Yuyan archers are shooting and they shoot the arrows into each other, that's a Robin Hood thing. I mean, that's in like every single Robin Hood movie. It's like a bit of a trope. So that's kind of cool to be like, oh, I've seen that before.
Right.
The idea that like these are so precise, these archers, which like that's not a thing you can actually do. I don't think you can actually like split an arrow with another arrow. I feel like the Mythbusters must have like had an episode about that. But still, it's cool to kind of see that, influence on the episode.
Yeah, definitely. I never watched Robin Hood, but I take your word for it.
Yeah. Also, Commander Zhao finally becomes Admiral Zhao.
There it is, people. So it is now officially Admiral Zhao. So there will be no more
confusion.
Yes.
I will say, it's so funny because he's talking to the guy who runs the fortress, and the guy's like, I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to do anything you say. And then the hawk comes, and he's like, this says you do have to listen to everything I say.
When I first watched it as a kid, I thought that was fake at first because it was just so convenient how he's just like, oh, they're my archers and I get to say what to do with them. So your request is denied. And then the hawk just flies out of nowhere and just saying, oh, seems like my request is approved because I'm Admiral. And so I always thought that maybe he faked that note. Or, well, once we got to the end of the episode and we saw that Zuko was the Blue Spirit, I thought maybe Zuko faked it just to like trick him into capturing the Avatar, just so Zuko could come and.
I don't know. That seems a little convoluted.
And as a kid, I was just like, it just didn't make sense. But now watching it today, I'm like,
okay, I mean, it definitely is very convenient, but I think it's one of those things that it's just you have to do it that way for the show. Like he's got to be Admiral. They got to do it now. Like, maybe in real life it would have taken a day or two for that letter to come. But, for a show, they got to save time, they only got a 28-minute slot,
Right.
I also wrote in my notes, Appa is hilarious, and I'm glad someone realizes it.
You understand Appa when he's doing all his growls?
Yeah, totally. Flip hair. Yeah, I totally. Okay. No, I just think it's funny. I just think it's really cute. I also said that Katara must be really sick to trust Momo.
Honestly. But Momo has shown in past episodes that he kind of understands what they're saying.
Oh, definitely.
So it was a little funny that when she's speaking, it's like, Momo. It's like, then what was he hearing this whole time when he was doing what? Yeah.
I mean, maybe he understands Aang a little bit better because they have that connection of being like from the air temples.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's still funny that like it's just in one giant ear, out the other giant ear. So then Aang goes to the healer woman, and she is a crazy old lady, and I love her so much.
Yeah. You know who she reminded me of?
Who?
The grandma from Hey Arnold. For some strange reason.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, she's got that kind of quality to her where she she's ultimately very wise and very smart, but she kind of does a little bit of a bait and switch where she's like,
Right.
no, this is cat food. And also the thing that struck me as so weird was like Aang goes to her and says, my friends are sick, I need your help. And she tells him like what cure to use, but he doesn't tell her like how they're sick. Like she doesn't know what they're sick with. She just knows to tell him, go get those frogs. Like,
She
I just
already
think
know,
that's really
yeah.
weird. I was like, but he didn't even tell you what was wrong. He just said they were sick.
I feel like it was assumed that she was kind of all knowing in a sense.
Yeah.
Because Aang just assumed that whatever she was making was for him
Mhm.
to give to his friends. It just ended up being cat food. But yeah, it just seemed like she just knew
Mhm.
like everything. I
Yeah.
don't know. It was a little
Yeah, a little weird.
yeah.
But then Aang goes to get those frogs for his friends to suck on.
My friends have to suck on those.
Yeah. And he gets captured by the Yuyel archers and taken to Zhao, who
Mhm.
is not messing around. He is not messing around.
Zhao was very theatrical when he was talking to Aang. He was like, how does it feel to be the last airbender? Do you miss your people? Oh, don't worry. You're not going to die like them. It's going to be much slower. Like, wow. Like, as a theater major,
Yeah.
how was his performance?
Not bad. It was a little, I mean, I give him points for being menacing. He gets points for being menacing. He gets points for dramatic pauses. I think he did those very well. However, I do have to take some points off because he is an adult talking to a child and being really mean to a child. So I do have to take some points off for that.
Sorry, Zhao. You just didn't make the cut, man.
Yeah.
It was close.
I will say this is the episode where we learn that you can't kill an avatar because they'll just be reborn into another nation, into the next life. So that's important. That's a really important thing that we learn in this episode. I mean, we've been talking about it episodes before because we both know the show, but
Right.
that's a really cool thing to learn. That, I mean, we knew that the avatar is reborn constantly because Roku died and Aang was born, but it's just interesting to know that like Aang has that protection against being killed, which is both a protection and a curse.
Right.
And that's why I think later on when we realize that there is a way to kill an avatar, it's like even more shocking.
Right.
Because as far as we know, up until that point, Aang is basically like, he's safe. He's never going to die, you know, because to do that would be, you know, the opposite of what the Fire Nation wants,
Right.
you know? Yeah. And then Aang is in prison and the blue spirit comes.
Oh, the blue spirit. Oh.
Did you have any idea that it was Zuko?
I can't even tell you.
It was so long ago.
It was so long ago. I feel like it was a little spoiled for me because book one, I have very vague memories of my first time viewing it. Like book two, I remember, and book three, I definitely remember viewing it for the first time. But book one is a little hazy. I feel as if I saw the ending of book one, and then whenever book two came along, I watched that, and from that I knew that Zuko was the blue spirit. So whenever I did watch this episode the first time, I feel like as if I already knew that was Zuko.
Yeah.
But for you, like, how were you shocked? Were you?
I mean, I wasn't like shocked, but I definitely was like, oh, that's a fun twist. If there's one thing the show does really well, it really does their twists really well. I feel like every time there was a mystery and then it was revealed to us, I feel like they always did it in such a good way. Yeah, I definitely didn't necessarily think it was Zuko. I was like, I have a feeling it's probably someone we may have met already, like who knows. But when it was Zuko, I was like, oh wow, look at that. Like, oh my gosh, it's Zuko.
Right.
Like, oh, how clever. That's such a smart twist, you know? And it makes sense because he is like, if I can't get the avatar, then I don't want anyone else to get the avatar.
Yeah. And it was a little sad when he was on the ship. He just like, my honor, my people, my country.
Yeah.
It's all about the, like, you could just feel in that performance with Dante, like that was A1.
Yeah.
You could just feel the hopelessness. Like you could hear in his voice that he really believes that he's about to lose it all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. and it's very much a the enemy of my enemy is my friend. You know, because Zuko at the end of the day was never gonna hurt Aang. He never had any intention of hurting Aang. He just needed to deliver Aang to his father. Zhao wants to hurt Aang, and Zhao said he was gonna hurt Aang, and I think that's the other reason that Zuko was like, I gotta break this kid out, because on one hand, yes, he wants to be the one to capture the Avatar and deliver him to his father, but on the other hand, like, Aang is just a kid, and Zuko knows that, and he also knows what Zhao is capable of, and I think maybe there's a little bit of compassion there too. You know, I wish we could have gotten more of the Blue Spirit, like not just in this episode, but just in the series overall. I would have loved to see more of Zuko being the Blue Spirit. You know, I think it's such a cool aspect of his character. I really would have loved to have just seen more of him, you know, being a vigilante and running around and stuff, because, you know, they never really explain like why he became the Blue Spirit, like, you know, what he does and everything like that, which is great for like fan fiction and the comics and everything, but you know, I really like that aspect of his character, you know.
And I agree. Him being the Blue Spirit really showed how much of Iroh's teaching really seeped into him.
Yeah.
Because going back to the winter solstice, the spirit world, when Iroh and Zuko were fending off against the Earth Kingdom soldiers, how Iroh didn't use any type of firebending, just like whatever he had, the chains and the rocks. Zuko could have easily, when he was busting Aang out, he could have easily reflected the fire back at the Fire Nation soldiers when they were like blasting him. But instead, he had a bucket of water.
I know. How clever is that?
Right?
How clever is that?
And it's just like, oh, that has to be, he got that from Iroh. Just like not to rely on your firebending all the time. Like sometimes you got to be quick and
I mean, it also keeps his identity even more secret. Like the less that he uses firebending, the less they can identify him. But also, you're absolutely right. Like, I think the Blue Spirit persona that Zuko has really speaks to Iroh's teaching in that you can't always rely on your firebending. You have to know how to sword fight. You have to know how to think on your feet. You have to be clever. And also, it kind of makes me wonder if the reason that the Blue Spirit exists as a character in Zuko's, like, you know, life is because when he had the Agni Kai with his father, if maybe his bending he didn't want to bend for a while. Because I wouldn't. You know, if my father, you know, burned my face, I would not want to firebend for a while either. I would probably want to explore other pursuits. And so maybe the swords were kind of like a way to like get him to start training again without the fear of fire. I mean, I'm just speculating. We don't know. But, you know, it's just an interesting concept to think about. Like, maybe that's one of the reasons that the Blue Spirit emerged as a part of Zuko.
That's a really good theory.
Yeah. You know, I mean, because Zuko seems like the kind of person who enjoys training and being physical in that way. So it makes sense that Iroh would be like, well, if you don't want to firebend, why don't we try with swords? Why don't we try, you know, parkour, you know? Just climb up that, you know, pole. You know, so yeah. It's a cool persona that Zuko has. It's utterly dramatic, which is of course for Zuko, but it's definitely cool. And that twist did get me. That twist really did get me. I thought it was a brilliant twist. Yeah. I also wrote down, my friends need to suck on those frogs, which is so funny. And I can't help but imagine like Zuko being like, what the hell is he talking about? What does that have to do with anything? What's going on?
What is this? What? Suck on frogs? Okay. This is what Team Avatar does? So just thinking about that and him joining Team Avatar at the end. Like,
he must have had so many questions.
Right? Like, is this the type of initiation that we gotta do? Suck on frogs?
Oh man. Yeah, when we get to like book 3, I think I'll eventually have a list of all the things that Zuko must have been really confused about and like Like he just pulls out a notepad like, okay, now that I'm Team Avatar, let's talk about all this. What was it this? What was this? Um I love that like Momo keeps like bringing back more and more ridiculous things. What happened to all those things? Like
Yeah.
what did they do with that? Because Katara was like wearing a crown and there was like a fancy tea set. Did they sell it? Because like they could have some nice money. They wouldn't have to worry about their money for a while. Did they bring it back? Like what did they do? Did they leave it there?
I want to assume that they just left it there.
Oh, what a waste.
I could imagine that there's just some village and like the talk of the town was this lemur thing just comes and steals all our stuff.
There's this like weird like tradition. It becomes like a holiday. Like you leave gifts out for the magic lemur, you know?
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, but then Zuko gets hit by an archer after a very, very daring escape where we really see how well Zuko and Aang work together.
Honestly. Oh, they had a little Sonic and Tails moment when Aang picked up Zuko and he was like twirling the I was like, oh, Sonic and Tails.
Yeah, that is Sonic and Tails, yeah.
Hilarious.
It's just this episode I think is such good foreshadowing for the teamwork that Aang and Zuko will eventually have.
Yes.
Because I feel like out of all of his teachers, you know, Katara, Toph, and Zuko, I feel like Aang connects the most to Zuko in terms of like teaching and learning.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really see in this episode the beginnings of just the incredible like companionship and teamwork that they will eventually have. They work so well together. They like Zuko doesn't say a word this entire like time, but he doesn't have to. Like he and Aang just like work on a nonverbal level, which is really cool to watch. But when you know what happens later, it's even cooler to watch.
Right.
You know? And then in this episode, Aang also mentions Kuzan for the first time and the idea that, you know, everyone can be friends with everyone. And do you think we could be friends? Like, oh, that's so sweet, Aang. Like, you will be friends, I promise. You'll be best friends. Like, someday, you know, like.
That I vaguely remember when I first watched this episode. Whenever I did, I remember it tugged something at me as a kid. I couldn't pinpoint what it was, but it's like why did that line stick out so much to me? And now as an adult, I'm just like, oh, because like that's a really interesting thought. It's like we're enemies now, but however, 100 years ago, I was cool with the Fire Nation.
Yeah.
Like, do you and you could just tell that it's coming from a genuine place from Aang's head. It's like he's looking at Zuko. It's like, do you honestly think that we could have? He says it with a smile too and everything. It's
like this is his enemy.
Yeah.
This teenager has been trying to kill him, and Aang still shows him so much compassion and genuine care. Like he could have left Zuko in the road for the Yu Yan archers, but he doesn't. He picks him up, takes him away somewhere safe, and he tries to, you know, extol some past wisdom that at one point the Fire Nation was good. The Fire Nation was friendly. You know, one of his best friends was Kuzan, you know. And, you know, I think that's why Aang is so good for the world at this point, because he had friends in all these different places and because he remembered a world in which everyone was friends. Because if, let's say, Aang had, you know, not been frozen in the ice and then another avatar happened and another avatar happened, those avatars would have grown up with the Fire Nation as their enemy, nothing more. And so it might have been harder for them to show compassion towards the Fire Nation and work towards peace. They might have been less interested in peace with the Fire Nation, more just, you know, eradication, like just stop them.
Right.
But Aang is always, always trying for peace. And I just think that's so wonderful.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And this is the first time in this book where Aang saves Zuko. And the second time being at the North Pole.
Yep.
And, you know, everyone's like, yeah, let's leave him for dead. Sure we can. And Aang was like, no.
Aang's a good boy.
He is. He's good.
So this episode ends with Aang managing to escape, and he gets his friends those frogs, and they're all better.
All better. That question that Saka asks Aang is like, "Hey, did you make any new friends?" And Aang is just like, "No, I don't think I did." And it's just the parallel of Aang laying on Appa, and then we see Zuko laying in his bed. And I thought it was interesting how he turns his back on the Fire Nation emblem.
Yeah. That's clever. I didn't think about that. Yeah. I think this moment might have been one of the first moments that Zuko maybe had a frisson of doubt that like maybe Aang wasn't so bad. Maybe there was something to his like airbender PC ways, you know?
Yeah.
All right.
Such a moving episode.
Yeah, it is. And it's also just a really cool episode. There's a lot of really fun like action sequences. Like when Aang is like going through the trees with the archers, and then the escape is just so cool with those like huge like leaf ladder things. Like it's just fun to watch. It's a fun episode. And once again, Admiral Zhao is absolutely useless. He is absolutely useless. He does nothing.
He was preparing a speech and everything. Like, wow.
He's so pompous.
But one highlight for me for this episode before we go on to the fortune teller. It was just hilarious how Aang is blowing everyone down the ladder. And the guys on the next ladder, they see that happening. They look and it's like, oh my God. And then they look up, they see Aang. The way they were just like, no. That was just hilarious.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fortune teller.
The fortune teller. Yeah. This is kind of a filler episode. This is a filler episode. Okay. So all those people who are like, oh, the Great Divide was so stupid. It was a filler episode. It was like, this show never does filler episodes, and when they do, they're bad. The fortune teller is a filler episode. Just saying. Like, that's what it is.
Okay, yeah. You're right.
I mean, isn't it though? Like, does anything really like really push the plot forward? No, we get some character development, but nothing really pushes the plot forward.
I mean, the Qatar and Aang's relationship, this is where it kind of starts.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of plot momentum, this episode does not really have that. So maybe people should be nicer about filler episodes. That's all I'm gonna say.
Whatever.
This episode is so cute. Like, Aang is just so cute in this episode, though. Like, when he makes Katara jewelry, and Sokka's like, maybe you should go into making jewelry. And Aang's like, I don't see why I can't do both.
Right.
Like, that's so cute. Aang the jewelry maker. That's what he does after he saves the world. He goes into the jewelry making business. That's what they should have explored in Korra. Aang's thriving jewelry business.
Man, when Qatar just friend zones Aang.
Yeah, a little bit.
Ooh,
I mean, I don't like that term. I don't like the term friend zone, but yeah, she really does.
I mean, it's just the fact that she was just like, stop teasing him, Saka. Aang's is just a friend. He's a little nice guy, just like Momo. Oh, I felt that.
Yeah.
I felt that hard, man.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, denied.
Yeah. And it's like, she doesn't mean anything by it. She
No,
just
not
like,
at all.
Yeah, she's just like, hey, like, yeah, we're friends, you know? Like, Momo and I are friends. And Aang's just like, no, don't compare me to the lemur.
Yeah. Well, because in all honesty, I just honestly do not think Katara thought about Aang in that way at all.
No, she did not.
I mean, speaking as like a girl who was once 14, I would never really look at a 12-year-old boy and be like, that is a viable romantic partner. Like, I would never have even considered a 12-year-old as a viable romantic partner.
Right.
I mean, see, that's something that I want to talk about with like this episode and like other episodes later on. But like, do you like, maybe it's because I just don't know enough about like prepubescent boys, but like, do you remember getting crushes when you were like 12?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because like when I was 12, I like had crushes. I say with air quotes for people who are only listening. I had crushes on like boys and stuff, but I had no desire to like really be romantic with them. You know, I just feel like, especially in later episodes, like Katara and Aang kiss a lot.
Yeah. I do remember wanting to be romantic.
Okay, so then I was just different than you. I was a bit of a late bloomer, I'll admit it.
No, it's not even that, because I remember this is a crushing story. I remember when I told my best friend, we're still friends today, because this happened in elementary. So I told my best friend, I told her, hey, can you tell such and such that I have a crush on them? Because I was too scared to tell her myself. So she was just like, yeah, sure. I mean, whatever, you know. She goes and she tells her, and this is on the playground, and all I hear is, ew, he's nasty. And I just remember just being frozen with embarrassment, and I was literally stuck in one position for the entire recess.
Oh no.
And she had the nerve. I mean, again, we're little kids, but she had the nerve to come to me like 10 minutes after. It feels like 10 minutes after that happened, and she was just like, "Hey, Guerlain, what's wrong?" And I'm in my head, I was like, "You know exactly what's wrong."
Oh my god, that's so sad. That's so sad.
I mean, the weird thing is, it turns out like she also had a crush on me, but she was kind of putting up a front in front of all of her friends.
I mean, at that age, you're still kind of phasing out of the boys have cooties kind of thing. Yeah. Aw, that's so sad though.
No, I mean it's fine. So it's not even like you were a late bloomer, or whatever. I just think maybe it was just a gender thing. Like maybe some guys were just ready to.
I mean, yeah. I was just curious. Like, is it normal for Aang to have been so invested in Katara? I mean, also you do have to remember that this world that they live in is very different than our world, and so who's to say that the maturity level of kids is a little bit different. Also, like, they're faced with the task of saving the world and they might die, so there might be pushing things ahead a little bit,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I was just curious, yeah, I will say, like, I do like Aang and Katara together. I think they're very sweet, and I like them together. I mean, like I said, sometimes I'm like watching and I'm like, ooh, they're kissing. Oh God. But like,
I mean, yeah.
But like, that also might be because I'm like a 27-year-old woman watching these literal children kiss. I mean, it's a cartoon, but like, even so, we'll talk about that later when we get to like those episodes where that happens.
Right.
But right now his crush is very, very sweet. It's very wholesome. And I think it's cute.
Can we talk about, not necessarily talk about, but just a quick mention of that weird fish? Why did they make the fish face like that?
Oh, no,
in the beginning.
I don't know.
And like, I was on
Sokka's like, it's taunting me.
It was taunting him.
It was
like,
taunting him.
It had a weird old like, come and get me type face.
Yeah.
Like, if you can. Ugh. All right.
That was weird.
Yeah, it was.
So they are by a village and they run into this old man who tells them about a fortune teller in the village. And I love how Saka in this episode, you really see how like scientifically minded he is. I mean, also people are idiots, but like it's kind of funny to see how technical he is, and kind of how he's no nonsense and he's not really one for like spirituality stuff and leaving things up to fate. He's very much here's a plan, this is what we got to do, and if we stick to this plan, everything will happen because science proves it. And I just think that's really interesting. I think it's a really cool part of his personality, and I like that we get to see it in this episode. Also, it's funny to just watch him get frustrated because people are ridiculous.
And it was a little hinted at before this episode, whenever, I don't know, maybe it was before this episode, maybe it was after, when they kept like bringing things up and Sokka had to answer for everything. He was like, well, what about this? And he's like, oh, well, that's Avatar stuff, that doesn't count.
Yeah,
I forgot which episode it was, but yeah, he's always in that mindset of like, everything has a reason. And
then I feel like he has that mentality until he really like sees everything for, which is so weird because he was literally in the spirit world for 24 hours and he's still so dismissive of it. I think until everything happens at the North Pole, and then I think he's a little more open to it.
I mean, he has to be.
Yeah, he has to be. But yeah, no, I just think it's so funny that like he was in the spirit world for 24 hours and he still is like, nope, science.
Yeah.
So they go into the village to meet the fortune teller, and they meet Meng, which is Toph's voice. That's the same actor.
Okay.
They liked her so much as Meng, they like called her back to do Toph.
I wasn't too sure, and for some reason I didn't bother to look it up.
Yeah,
so
no, that's Toph's voice.
Okay,
which is fun.
Yeah,
because like it's so interesting because I watched it in a binge and I didn't make the connection between those two voices. I was like, oh, it's Toph now, and I just completely forgot about Meng until someone like mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, that was the same voice. How funny. There's like enough time between the two characters that you kind of forget, so that's nice.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, no, I like Meng. I think she's funny.
She is. She's adorable.
Yeah. And I also, something that's really interesting about this episode and the idea of fortune telling is, in our world, fortune telling is, and I'm probably going to make some people mad, I don't care. Fortune telling is bullshit. Like, it's very much you tell people what they want to hear and you're vague enough and you do cold readings and, you know, this and that. I mean, I personally believe that, like, you know, people have feelings and that, like, maybe they get certain feelings about people who have died. But in all honesty, like, all that stuff, psychics and all that stuff is bullshit and made up. Fight me, Teresa Caputo.
Is that the Long Island?
That's the Long Island medium, yeah. I mean, you know, whatever. But you have to wonder, in a world where spirits exist and people can talk to them and people can interact with them and spirits can come into their world and wreck forests, fortune telling must hold a lot of weight. Fortune telling must not be ridiculous and you know, a soft kind of thing. Like, it must be a real legitimate art.
It sounds like it, because when the old guy, when he said ever since Aunt Wu came in 20 years ago, you know, we stopped going up to the mountain. Though it's just the way he explained it, it just sounds like, oh, a fortune teller came to our town, not the fortune teller. So it does sound like it is a craft that a lot of people, like, if your town has a fortune teller, good for you. You know? So.
I mean, it would have to be. If there's a world where people can talk to the dead, then being able to tell fortunes and predict the future, it must be a real thing.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because, like, for us, Saka is, like, the most rational person there. But in all honesty, he might not be the most rational person there. Like, fortune telling is real, you know, and we, you know, this episode is also a perfect example of, like, correlation does not equal causation, which is, like, the whole, like, Aunt Wu said that if you wore red shoes, you'd meet your love. How often do you wear those shoes? Every day. Well, then of course you're gonna meet your love. And the whole thing, like, you know, Aunt Wu said no danger would come to me, and it's like, yeah, because we saved you. But that's what's so funny about the, you know, correlation does not equal causation. Like, technically, Aunt Wu is right.
Yeah.
But, you know, these people take her fortunes too literal, and they allow her fortunes to kind of run their life, which I think is the moral of this episode, that it's all fun and games to get a fortune and kind of believe in it, but you have to continue to live your life. You can't just stop bathing, you know? Because if it's a real fortune, that one random day when you wear red shoes, you will meet your love.
Right.
But, like, if you wear red shoes every day, then what's the point of getting the fortune?
Honestly,
you know?
Yeah.
You know? I like Aunt Wu, though.
She's nice.
Yeah, she's a little bit of a crackpot, but, you know, she seems like a decent old woman, and she seems like she cares about people, and, you know, it must be annoying to constantly have to predict things for people. I mean, it's her job and she does it, but, like, it must be annoying to live in that town with all those idiots, because they are idiots. Like, let's be completely honest.
I mean, she seemed fine.
Yeah.
She just, the one who annoyed her the most was
Katara.
Katara, bro. Oh my God, she was obsessed with Aunt Wu.
Yeah. Should I have a mango or a papaya for breakfast?
Papaya.
Oh, I hate papaya.
Oh man. And the when Aunt Ru reads, well, first when she does tell Katara, I was about to mix up the two with Saka and Katara, Sakara. I don't know. I don't know why I was about to say that. But when she does tell her, oh, about her love life, and that it's gonna be a powerful bender that she marries, Aang's reaction was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm in, because it's like he just knows, like, who's more of a powerful bender than me? I'm the Avatar. I score. You know, he's in there.
I love that.
And when Wu reads Aang's, oh my god, the theatrics. Oh my god, this is amazing. You are gonna be part of, I cannot believe this. You're gonna be a part of this big old battle. It's gonna be tremendous and awesome between good and evil. And Aang is just like, yeah, I know that already. Tell me who's gonna be my wife. And she's like, it's just hilarious.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Man.
When he's like, yeah, I know about that already. I know that I'm gonna be in this battle, but like, tell me about my love.
You want to know about love? You're gonna, okay. It's funny. Good
this episode's also really funny just for like the side adventures that like Aang and Sokka go on. I love that Sokka, his main advice to Aang about, you know, relationships is don't be a simp.
Time out. Hold on.
I say that as a joke. I'm like,
I know. But for those who are listening and use that term to like shame dudes for showing affection to a girl, fuck you. All right? That's not what a simp is. A simp is demeaning your character for whoever. That's what a simp is. If you're saying if and this is big on social media. So if you're on a girl's comments and you're being thirsty, you're a simp. Because it's like, why you being mad extra for nothing? However, if you're just complimenting them, it's like, hey, you look really nice in this photo. Or like, yeah, go ahead, girl, do your thing. And you get called a simp, that's not how you use it.
yeah.
You know, you got these little 12-year-olds calling people simps. It's like, you don't even know how to use it, bro.
Yeah.
It's just, that shit just pisses me off.
No. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think, you know, breaking off from Avatar for a second, I think it's really sad the way that society tells men that they can't be emotional and they can't be genuine with their feelings and with compliments, because I think it really allows for, you know, a stunted view of yourself and of the way that you should be treating others. That's you know, the patriarchy at its best. Like, the patriarchy, yes, is hurtful and harmful to women, but it also hurts and harms men, you know? And that's, I think, an example of that. That the second that a man shows, you know, affection or admiration for a woman, he's instantly demeaned and teased.
This is dumb.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're a certain, so if, whatever, fuck it. Anyways, but the information that Sokka does give Aang about the problem with nice guys,
Yeah.
for me, I feel like it's somewhat right. It is true that quote unquote nice guys can be too nice, but it's not just being too nice. It's just, you know, if you're too nice, then you kind of come off as boring. Like, you're not really interesting. And when he tells Aang to be aloof, it's really telling Aang, you just got to be a little bit more spicy. Be a little bit more, you know, out there, and like don't do too much. Don't like, even though like you really like the girl, like don't show too much of that, because it could and most times it could be a turnoff. Like being too much,
too needy, or
too needy, too praisey or whatever, you know.
The thing that's funny is that Sokka tells Aang this. Sokka's never been aloof a day in his goddamn life. Like, Sokka, you're the one telling Aang to be aloof. Like, dude, like, you are the biggest, like, with Suki, with Yue, like, you fall over your feet for them. Like, it's so obvious that you like them and you do all this stuff for them. You are the last person that should be telling Aang to be aloof.
But the thing is,
he thinks he's such a Casanova. I love it.
But the way Sokka acts around Suki and Yue, there was nothing wrong with it. Like, if he gave Aang that advice, because like all Sokka did was be himself.
Exactly.
And when
his sweet little embarrassing self.
And when he did act out of character, he caught himself, well, with Suki after she embarrassed him.
Yeah.
Then he caught himself and he came very humbly just saying, "Hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's try this again."
Yeah.
You know, and with Yue, he pretty much had it down pat.
Yeah.
Because Suki told him.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
not to
Yeah.
act like a jerk.
Yeah, no, I just think it's funny that like Sokka's the one telling Aang to be like aloof and all that.
Come on, Saka.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I know we're kind of breaking out from like Avatar when we're talking about this, but I just want to reiterate that the idea of like you can be too nice or you can be too this or too that with girls. In my experience, the guys that complain about, oh, I'm too nice, girls don't like me, they're not really nice.
No.
They're not.
No.
There's always a condescension with them. There's always a sense of superiority. There's always a transactional element to everything that they do. Like, if I pay you a compliment, you should do something for me. They're not really nice.
No.
Genuinely nice people will always find others who like them. And, you know, unfortunately, I think at the end of the day, you can be the nicest guy in the world, like really nice. Like, you can be the nicest guy in the world, but if she is not into you, she's not into you. And nothing you do or say is really going to change that, you know? And, you know, unfortunately, I think it sometimes falls to physical attractiveness. Like, if she doesn't think you're cute, bro, you know, sorry. I mean, obviously, you know, you can change your mind over time, but I feel like if there's not that like initial spark, then, you know, tough luck, bro. But that being said, there's someone for everyone.
Yeah.
There's someone for multiple people. You know, I know people, and this is not to insult anyone. I know people that I personally am like, ew, that person's not at all attractive. No, thank you. Who have had many happy relationships, you know, with wonderful people. So if you are like a genuinely good person and you care about others, but you just aren't having luck in the dating scene, like, please do not beat yourself up. Please do not worry. There is someone out there for you. There's multiple someones out there for you. You know, you just have to find them. And
right.
it's a struggle for everyone. You know, even the most attractive people in the world have good and bad relationships, you know?
It happens.
Yeah.
You know, you just like you said, just gotta be patient. And sometimes sometimes one can look in the wrong place.
Exactly.
Like you go after a certain type of person when that's not the type of person you should be going after.
Exactly.
For, you know?
It's all a learning experience.
Honestly,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, as long as you are genuine and you are yourself, you know, you don't try to be somebody else that you're not, that doesn't fit, you know, I think there's hope and love for everyone if they want it, you know.
Relationship advice with Brielle and Guerlain.
Yeah, right? That should be our next podcast. But yeah, and then Aang and Sokka realize that the volcano is going to blow, even though Aunt Wu said it wasn't, and so they decide that they have to save the town, and they do it by kind of like making the clouds and shifting them, and then they build this really cool moat, and it's just cool to see like all the earthbenders and everything working together. And
even Momo with his little participation when he puts the little rock.
Yeah, that's so cute.
Yep, Momo.
And I love that it's like, we need all the earthbenders. I'm an earthbender. I'm not.
Great year for twins.
Yeah, that's so cute. All the little side characters that we get in all the episodes is it's such a delight. Like, they really do give us really fun and funny side characters, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, I like that Meng is like, I like you, but you don't like me, and that's okay. Katara is really pretty, though, so, like, you're gonna have a nice life with her, I'm sure. Like,
that was so sweet.
Yeah. Also, I love that, like, canonically, Katara is, like, beautiful. Like, this is not the first time that someone has said Katara is beautiful. And, like, like, all these children that we eventually meet, they're all just beautiful children. Like, they're just beautiful children.
Right.
Like, Katara is canonically beautiful, which means that Sokka's probably like really handsome, and then later when we meet Hakoda, we see that Sokka's like attractive. and like Aang is supposed to be like really cute, and like Toph is supposed to be pretty, and Zuko is supposed to be like girls fawn over Zuko and everything. It's like all these just like beautiful children just saving the world.
Unrealistic now.
Unrealistic, yeah. Yeah, and then when Aang is like using air to like freeze the lava, and Sokka says like, "Oh man, that kid's one powerful bender." I think that might be the moment that Katara really starts to see who Aang is, and I think that might be kind of the moment that her crush starts. I mean, she definitely moves a lot slower than Aang in her attraction to him, but I think that might be the moment that she realizes like, "Oh, maybe I should give Aang a second look." You know?
Sometimes it just takes that one little action,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Obviously, not everyone can stop a volcano
Yeah.
and everything, but small things like being there when they need you the most, or um just 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 like the smallest things that
Mm-hmm.
can really change someone's perspective on you.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. And the thing is, the reason Katara likes Aang is not because he was trying to be aloof or trying to be mysterious. It was because he was saving people and helping people and being his kind and brave self, because he was being who he was. He wasn't trying to be someone he wasn't, you know? And that's, I think, the message that you
Yeah.
should take from this episode. You know, that if you are yourself and you're a good person, that love and friendship will find you.
There you go.
Mhm.
And you can shape your own fate. That's
Yeah,
what
that's the other thing.
that's what Aunt Wu left Aang with.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And then Ming calls Katara floozy. Perfect end.
Perfect ending. All right, so then we go on to episode 15,
Bato of the Water Tribe.
Bato of the Water Tribe. I love this episode. I really, really do. I think any episode where we learn more about the cultures of the world, I think is so great. I love those episodes. So the first thing that I wrote is June is amazing, and I want her to step on me.
Whoa.
I just want to put that out there. That's what I'm into.
I mean, clearly, so was Iroh.
I know, I know.
Iroh. But Jennifer Hale, bro, I'm not.
That's the voice actress.
That's the voice actress. Her voice is just there's just something about it.
It's real sexy.
Yes, it is.
It's real sexy.
Throughout my childhood, her voice was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Billy and Mandy.
When I watched the episode for the first time, I immediately recognized her voice. Yeah.
It was Billy and Mandy, Powerpuff Girls. She was in Powerpuff Girls. She was in Spider-Man, like one of the animated Spider-Man.
Oh, cool.
She her voice is just so distinct. And,
yeah, exactly.
I love her.
I love June. She's a good character.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so this episode, they are traveling some more, and they find, a knife, and they find an arrowhead, and it suggests that there was a water tribe presence in this area, and we really see Sokka's like tactical brain.
Yes.
Like he's able to kind of say what happened with the battle, like where every person went and everything, which is a skill. It's a real skill to be able to look at the aftermath of a battle and know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It really, these few episodes have really shown Sokka's intelligence.
Very.
He, I feel like sometimes it's downplayed in the show for humor's sake, which is fine, but he is really very smart, and he's smart in such a unique way that is so beneficial to Aang in his journey, because no one else in the team thinks like Sokka, and it really comes in handy in a lot of later episodes. And this episode is like kind of where we see that come out as well.
Sokka's a genius.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
And this episode was so cute because it's like, aw, baby Sokka.
Yeah.
Baby Sokka. It's so cute with his little war paint and everything. But this episode is also like really sad because we see, the abandonment that he felt when his father went away to war. And, that can't be easy.
No.
Because Sokka grew up with the war. He knows what happens to people who go off to war. And so for him to have lost his mother, and then for his father to leave as well, I mean, he was a little kid dealing with the fact that he might not have a father.
Yeah, and there's a strong possibility that he's not coming back.
And that he can't even be there with his father. He has to stay behind. And, like, obviously, he's too young to fight. And, Hakoda knows that. But, And I think Sokka understands that he's too young to go and that like he has to stay behind. But that must have hurt to know that that could have been the last moment he sees his father.
Yeah.
You know? And they even say in the episode it's been like 2 years. That's a long time.
It is.
It's a long time. But yeah, and then they're traveling and they see the Water Tribe boat and they meet Bato. Bato is so great and he's so tall and it's just you can see the immediate just like recognition and familiarity with him. And I just love this episode because you really get insight into the way that Katara and Sokka grew up, like with such a warm and loving family around them. And it's just really sweet. That they have this moment with Bato where they get to like tell stories and be surrounded by Water Tribe pelts and eat sea prunes and everything. It's just sweet.
The way they reacted really shows how homesick they were. And it's not even something that they brought up or anything that they ever hinted at.
No,
it's like obviously they kept this within them for Aang's sake.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the minute they saw Bato, just like, oh my God. Hi, and then they go to the tent. Oh, it's just like the South Pole. Like everything is here, even the pelt. And Aang is just like, yeah, nothing like being surrounded by dead animals. But yeah, and they see the food is like, is that I forgot what it was called.
Sea prunes or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, is that? Oh my God. Oh, my dad could like eat up. It's just it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, because traveling with Aang is the first time they've ever left their home. So I imagine they must be incredibly homesick, even if they don't say it. This episode is also really interesting because we really see Aang's abandonment issues. Because the second that Katara and Sokka aren't like focused on him, he gets worried, he gets jealous, he gets scared. And he immediately thinks the worst. He immediately is like, oh, they're going to leave me. And it makes sense. It makes sense that he would have such strong abandonment issues. I mean, his entire people are gone and all he has are Katara and Sokka. And so, he as a person knows how important your tribe is to you, how important your family is to you. So to him, it probably makes sense that they would want to go to their father and leave Aang behind. And it's just so sad when you realize how afraid he is of being alone and how afraid he is of doing this by himself,
So much so that he hides the
letter.
map.
Yeah. I mean, he's a child,
Yeah.
and he's prone to being a little irrational, but it's sad.
And on the flip side, we go to Jun and Zuko and Iroh.
Yes, they're using her, I can't remember what it's called.
Shishnu.
Yeah, Sandshrew.
Sandshrew.
That's a Pokemon.
Oh, Sandshrew?
Sandshrew is a Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
I was making a joke. But yeah, no, that's again like a cool animal. Like it's a mix between like a badger and a oh, what's that animal? A badger and a
I know what you're talking about. Is that mole?
and
thing?
a mole? Yeah, a badger and a mole. Yeah.
Zuko's confidence, bro. The fact that he was just cool with talking to June like that.
Yeah.
Like this badass hot woman. And you're just like a 16-year-old punk. You grabbing her wrist and everything. Like Zuko got some balls on him, bro. I like the little cameo of Ryu from Street Fighter. The character that she was arm wrestling.
Oh, really? I don't really know much about Street Fighter, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's Ryu.
Yeah.
That was a nice little thing they added in there. Yeah, June is just a badass. The fact that Zuko just like, you owe us for the damage of my ship. She was like, well, I'm fresh out of cash. Drinks are on me, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, bro, she is a badass. But
she's so cool.
yeah, Zuko got some balls on him.
And also, like, Iroh's got game.
Yeah.
Iroh's like, yeah, he's a little bit like silly and, a little bit of a, like, come on, Iroh. Like, this is a young woman, you're an old man. But he's also got some game. Like, when they're traveling and he happens upon Aunt Wu and she's like, hello there, handsome. And he's like, hello. He's got game. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, he is wise.
He is wise.
Near at the end when they all get hit by the tongue and they're all paralyzed, and Iroh saves June. No, and just laying down like, Iroh, I didn't see you get hit by the tongue. I don't know what. out of nowhere, he just kind of became Master Roshi from Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, how, when did Iroh become like
a little bit of a creep.
yeah,
Yeah.
like and it's the I feel like in anime they always have that cliche, that pervy uncle or
Yeah.
the pervy old man. And didn't they go hardcore on it?
No,
Like
they
it wasn't
didn't,
like,
thank goodness.
oh my god, Iroh. But it was just like, where did this come from?
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't like pursue that as a real trait.
Yeah, 'cause
because
that
they
would've been
definitely
annoying.
like hinted at Iroh's, I think, like charm with women, like
Mhm.
especially like older women. I think it was just like a one-off joke.
It was.
I mean,
but-
June's that beautiful. Like June's that cool. I can see, Yeah, that is a weird kind of trope that you see in anime a lot. I'm glad it didn't really
Yeah.
stick around. I don't like when Iroh's gross like that.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it was only
Yeah.
once.
I I also wrote down, what did Miyuki do? What did Miyuki do? So like when Zuko and Jun and Iroh are on the sand shrew and they go to the healer because they're following the scent of Katara with her necklace. They go to the old woman's hut and the woman goes to her cat and she's like, Miyuki, did you get in trouble with the Fire Nation again?
Oh,
What did Miyuki do? What did she do? That's something that Zuko's gonna have to deal with as Fire Lord. They're gonna be like, well, Fire Lord Zuko, do you want to like pardon any criminals that happened during the war? And he looks through it and he's like, Miyuki, I'm sorry, we can't. Her sins can never be forgiven. Like, what did Miyuki do?
questions.
These are the questions that I wanted answered. This is what I want a comic book about.
That's what I didn't even pick that up. That's hilarious.
What did Miyuki do? Yeah, but so back to Aang. So basically he is afraid that Katara and Sokka are going to leave to find their father and leave him alone. But before they go, Bato is like, hey, let's take Sokka ice dodging because he wasn't able to do this rite of passage, and Aang gets to come with them. And it's just a great scene because, again, you really just see how smart Sokka is and how and like, even though he necessarily is not like super creative, like he thinks he is, but he's really like not. But he is so innovative in his thinking. Like when he uses Katara and Aang's bending to like fly the boat basically over those cliffs and over those rocks, like that's so creative and that's so clever. Like he really is one of the most intelligent people in the show, and it's in such an interesting way that he's intelligent.
He's ahead of his time.
He really is. I mean, I love Sokka. I love him so much. Yeah, no, and I just think this episode is so sweet because Sokka is a man now. He has had this rite of passage. Sokka the wise, Katara the brave, and Aang the trusted. And I just love that. All these little moments that, all these little moments that show us more and more about the Water Tribe and about the people of this world. I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Aang admits that he kept the paper with the rendezvous point, and he loses his status as Aang the Trusted.
Bato was willing to hear Aang out.
Because Bato's an adult, and I think he
Yeah.
understands.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Sokka was just over it. He was like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I felt iffy about this kid from jump.
Yeah. All of a sudden.
And, and Katara hesitates, but
Mhm.
she's just like, yeah, this can't be forgiven.
Yeah.
But they do forgive it.
They do forgive him because, they realize that their journey with Aang is more important than seeing their father, and that they will see their father at the end of all this. This isn't going to be, this isn't the last time that they will see people from the Water Tribe and that they'll see their father again.
Right.
Which is true. I mean, obviously they don't know, but I think it really shows the amount of compassion and care they have for Aang, that they're like, he is more important and we have to help him.
Yeah.
But yeah, they go to the sand shrew comes and it captures Katara because it was smelling Katara, not Aang.
Right.
And they get taken to that like perfumery, the nunnery place. And we see a cool fight scene Cool fight scene.
Amazing fight scene.
Yeah.
A tiny detail when they're riding into the nunnery place. Well, one funny thing is the first time they broke into it, they knocked down the door and everything, and like, oh my god, blah blah, blah. And then they go, they find Saka and Qatar. And then the second time they bust through, you see that they put stilts to hold the door open, and it's like just bust one more time. But the tiny detail that I thought was cool was when, you know, the Sanshu was galloping and everything.
Yeah.
You could see Zuko holding Saka and Katara, making sure that they don't fall off. I thought that was a nice detail, like, showing that he still cares for their well-being.
I mean,
he could have easily just let them
fly around and get hit around. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's the little things.
Yeah.
But you're right. That with the stilts on the door, that was actually really funny. That's such like a blink and you miss it moment.
Right.
I also love in this episode. So Aang is non-violent. He doesn't like to start fights, and he always tries to use like defensive moves. You know, he is non-violent, but Appa sure isn't.
Oh.
Appa is ready to kill a bitch. He does not hesitate. Appa is ready to do it. And I think that's so funny.
Appa showed up on this one.
I know.
You know, after the previous episodes where he was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Where were you when we got kidnapped by the Kyoshi warriors?
Yeah.
Where were you when we got ambushed by the Fire Nation camp?
Yeah.
Like, but now for the Sanshu, he showed up and he showed out.
Yeah, he's not messing around.
No.
I think that's so funny. I love stuff like that. When like you see it more with characters who are like siblings or best friends, where like one of them is like a sweet little like sunflower and they would never hurt a fly, and the other one's like cracking their knuckles, like ready to kill someone. You know, I just love that.
And when June whipped Appa, I was like, careful now. Like you hot, but like you treading on like
they're nice.
They're nice right now.
Nice,
Do not whip Appa. Yeah. Be careful.
Again, the creativity with which they solve their problem and they fight June and her animal by like, you know, messing up its nose and like that sort of thing. I feel a little bad for the animal, but like they'll be fine. We see them later, they're fine. But it's just again really clever and creative. And I also love how like during the fight scene, Iroh is like trying the perfumes. He's like, this doesn't concern me. I'll let the kids handle this.
Honestly. It smells good. I'm gonna keep it for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and then they win and they get to escape, and Aang and Katara and Sokka reiterate that they are a family. And they're gonna be with each other through all this until the end. They're gonna go to the North Pole, which is sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They going back to the fight scene, the choreography was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it always is.
Oh my god, when Aang was like, when Zuko was firebending, and Aang was going to different poses on the well.
Yeah, where they were like stepping like around the hole and everything. That was so cool.
But the progression though, so first the well has the little
like roof thing.
The roof thing, and Aang is like flexing on that. Roof thing is gone. Now they're watching their step, but they're not even watching their step. Like they're just so coordinated. Like they, and then he takes the necklace. Chef kiss. Chef's kiss. Yes. I
love when Aang's like, oh, Zuko told me to give this to you, and Katara's like, oh, that's so sweet, and she kisses his cheek. Well, when you see Zuko, give him this. Can you just imagine like later on in the series, like when Zuko's part of the gang and
he's like, oh, hey, I've been meaning to give you this.
And that's the list of things that I do not understand about these kids.
No, but that was a nice flirtatious moment between them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Also, something that I want to say about this episode, I will reiterate it later when we officially meet Hakoda. But Hakoda is a DILF. I just wanted to put that out there. Hakoda is a DILF, and we all need to show our respects. That man is stone cold gorgeous. That man is 110% Water Tribe beef. I love him. And damn, okay. Also, he and Bato are married. Is it canon? No. Do I care? No. They are married. They are in love. It's great. The reason that Sokka and Katara were so happy to see Bato is because he's their stepdad. They're in love and they're happy. The end. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Listen, okay, listen. Like Saka tells a stupid pun, and Bato's like, "Yeah, your dad has the same sense of humor." You know, like old married couple. Then they talk about all the adventures that they used to go on, where they got into trouble constantly. Come on, they're married. They're married, and they're in love, and it's great.
All right, if you say so. I'm not gonna debate you on that.
Like I said, is it canon? No. Do I care? No.
I'll let you have that one.
I have very strong feelings about chips.
I can see.
But yeah. Anyway.
Shipping with Brielle.
Yeah, right? But yeah, no, I literally wrote like Katara and Saka are gorgeous confirmed.
Yeah. Even June is all like, oh, so this is your girlfriend, huh? No wonder she left you.
Yeah.
She's too pretty for you.
But listen, if Hakoda looks like that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously Sokka's gonna be gorgeous. Like,
I mean, it is confirmed that he is.
yeah.
In Korra.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, sorry. There was like, so I follow a bunch of like Avatar themed blogs on Tumblr, and there was like a whole thing called the DILF course, where we literally had like polls and, you know, friendly arguments, not like mean arguments, about like who was the hottest DILF on Avatar. Hakoda won.
Yeah.
Hakoda won. Bato was not allowed in the running because he's only a stepdad.
All right. Is that everything? Is that everything for this episode?
Yes. Yes, it is. That's everything for the episode. Again, I just want to end on the note that it's really sweet how much this show hammers home the messages of family is what you make it. Family can be one that you choose. And family and friendship are the most important things.
Yes.
I love that that's the message.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. Is that it? I think that's it.
I think that's it. Oh, well, just one quick note.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just like the lone wolf thing. When the wolf
that metaphor.
that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And Bato was just like, I can't relate because my husband left me.
See,
No.
you got it.
No, that was a
I'm
joke.
gonna bring you over to
That
my
was a
side.
joke. That
I'm
was
gonna
a
bring you
joke.
over. I'm
That
gonna
was
like
a joke.
make a PowerPoint and like
No.
show you slides.
Oh, you better not. That was a joke. All right, now I'm done.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for watching. For those who watch on YouTube, as always, this is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And the visual is available on YouTube under a rock with Brielle and Guerlain. And I think that's it. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you got it all.
All right, cool. So that's a wrap. So see you guys next episode.
Bye.
Later.